What is up, hard rock and metal fans? So, here's an interesting installment that I finally managed to get around to, which is to do with all things Motorhead, of course. But the thing is that this was a little different because there was a bit of a challenge here. Now, Motorhead, for those who are new, would need to know that, if you look at studio albums, which is really what my little program over here on YouTube is focused on, giving people a sense of what I think would be the best three albums or the best three albums for new listeners to start listening to for a particular band. In Motorhead's case, they're one of those few bands that have an extensive discography. I mean, 23 studio albums to be exact. So, yeah, I mean, I never count greatest hits albums and live albums, obviously for different reasons, but I just stick to the studio one. So, what I thought instead to do today is to look at what I think or what I would like to share as my top 10 songs by the band. And I think that's, gives people a better sense. It's a way to cheat a little bit for me to add in a few more albums than my usual three. So without further ado, I just want to get started with that. And to kick things off, I actually want to begin with this, which is a song which features Ozzy Osbourne, which is I Ain't No Nice Guy. Now, it also has Slash playing a lead section towards the middle part of the song. I know a lot of fans who love this song. I know for a fact a lot of fans who hate this album, March or Die. They felt it was too commercial. It was Motorhead trying to get too commercial with their sound and so on. And this came out, I think, if I'm not wrong, in 1992. So that being said, I still like this album a lot, and I like a lot of songs out here, and this is definitely one. So I Ain't No Nice Guy has a nice, sort of melodic, slow-paced section. There's certainly, a different style of singing from Lemmy, and it works so well with him and Ozzy on this. So being a huge Ozzy and Black Sabbath fan, I mean, this was really sort of a dream come true, so to speak. But I genuinely like this song a lot. So this is the one at number 10. Right, so then coming in at number 9 is a song called Live to Win, which comes off what many consider to be Motorhead's best album ever, Ace of Spades. And this particular track has a very interesting groove, really like it a lot. I think that it really captures a very strong essence of what the band's sound was all about. Now, I know a lot of fans, love other tracks like Off Here, and there is one more, obviously, which will be further up on my list. But for me, aside from the other one that's coming up, this would be the other one that is a real standout track. I really like, you could just sort of say the grit in Lemmy's voice also, and I just think that it makes it to be a very powerful, sort of statement of sorts. So this comes in at number 9. Okay, coming in at number 8 is a very powerful track, very melodic, very slow, but obviously a song, just as the name of the song is 1916, it's about youth caught up in the middle of World War One. And I think that it's very interesting. It shows another dynamic side to Lemmy's range and to what, he was able to achieve as a vocalist and, all-round performer. And I mean, God rest his soul. I mean, we all miss him. But it's a great showcase to show what a creative force he was and how he was able to evoke so much of emotion in this particular track. So 1916, this comes off. It's the title track of the album 1916, which I believe came out in 1991. So definitely a standout track on that album. Right, and coming in at number 7 is Limb from Limb. It's a very, very cool one. I like it a lot. This actually comes from the Overkill album, 1979. And I really like Lemmy's bass tone on this particular one. It's one of those... I mean, obviously he was a phenomenal bass player along with the many other musicians, who were there. But there's just something about it that, just stands out to me in a very big way. So I really like it a lot. Definitely, aside from the title track, it's the other one that really, captures, my attention. So yeah, coming in at number 7, Limb from Limb. Alright, and coming in at number 6 is Cat Scratch Fever. Now, for those who may not be aware, this was actually an original song which was composed, written by another rock musician called Ted Nugent. And I believe it's the title track for that particular album, which he had come out with. If I'm not wrong, of course, let me know in the comments below. But I always felt that the way Lemmy and team, just took this track and made it their own. It was really phenomenal. I mean, it was obviously included on the very divisive March or Die album. But again, as I said, I really liked that album a lot. And this was another one. This was a cover, but it was very well put together. And I think Lemmy just added this extra flair to it, which made it, have this more menacing tone, so to speak. So this comes in at number 6. And coming in at number 5 is Hellraiser. Now, if I'm not wrong, I think Lemmy had penned this particular track, but gave it to his really good friend Ozzy Osbourne for his album, which I think came out a little before the release of, the March or Die record. And Ozzy's album was, of course, the seminal work, No More Tears. Ozzy's is a good version, but I much prefer Lemmy's version. It's got this very chunky, very heavy, obviously bass tone, but it's got so much more happening with all the instruments and just this sort of again very menacing vocal delivery style that Lemmy had. And I think that it just works a lot better. You could sort of see this contrast that's there. Now, again, for those who would want to check this out, I believe last year, and I think it was last year, that they did a mashup of the two versions of Hellraiser, Ozzy's and Lemmy's vocals mixed together, which I think they also included a mix of the instrumentation and so on. So you guys can check that out. It's available on YouTube. Have a listen. But if you want to look at the distinct versions, this is a track that I really love. It's a song that, just got me hooked. And I honestly always have preferred this version much more. So this comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Brotherhood of Man. And this is actually on the album called The World Is Yours. This record came out, if I remember correctly, in late 2010 or early 2011. So yeah, a little while back. And one of the more, you could say in a way, recent Motorhead records compared to their extensive discography, which goes, way back. But this track, oh my lord, I mean, that heavy riff, I mean, I would say that, this is one of those times, where I really appreciated, Phil Campbell, on, his guitar, and, Mickey D with his drum sound and so on. I mean, there's just such a, ominous feel to this track, but it is so cool. It is just like a true biker's, theme. So to speak, and it's a track that I've always enjoyed listening to. I mean, you can keep it on consistent loop. It's got a lot of weight to it. It's a little over 5 minutes, so you get and I always like tracks which you can which go on for a bit and so on. So this is something that really stood out to me in a big way, coming in at number 4. Okay, now we're jumping back to some more classic era stuff. So coming in at number 3 is the title track from the album Iron Fist, the song Iron Fist. And this came out in the early 80s, 1982. And this was a track that was one of the first I actually ever heard of Motorhead when I got into, like the whole music scene and so on. And I just think that, a lot of folks, in fact, have said that there's something very similar or very reminiscent to the song Ace of Spades and Iron Fist. I could sort of see that, but it's in no way sort of like them plagiarizing themselves or anything like that. Far from it. I mean, and again, don't get me wrong, I think they're two very distinct tracks. And Iron Fist is really what it is. Like, it really hits you sonically in the head, with the way in which these guys are able to deliver things. And this comes from the classic lineup, which has always been regarded, which is the Ace of Spades lineup, which had Lemmy, It had Phil Filthy Animal Taylor, and it had Fast Eddie Clark. God bless all those three men. They're no longer on earth, and I'm sure they're rocking in heaven. But they really delivered something very special out here. So this comes in at number three. And coming in at number two, yes, you guessed it, Ace of Spades, the title track for their definitive album, which many regard as, like the peak of Motorhead sound. Many do. Many, of course, consider other albums, of course, and that's absolutely fine. Everyone has a diverse set of opinions. We welcome it all. But Ace of Spades is, like one review had said, it's like, how you have Smoke on the Water for Deep Purple, you have Paranoid for Black Sabbath, you have, dare I say it, I mean, there's so many songs for Led Zeppelin. I'm just trying to think of, what people say, but a lot of people sometimes quite often said Whole Lotta Love. It's kind of like, what Highway to Hell is for AC/DC. So you get the idea. It's the song that most people would gravitate towards and cite as, like if anyone was new and they needed to get a quick sense of what Motorhead was about, Ace of Spades would be it. So they would make you listen to that. And for good reason. It's just a phenomenal track and I love it. So this comes in at number two. And finally, coming in at number one is, yes, Born to Raise Hell. This is my song. If someone was to ask me what is Motorhead all about, what would be that one song that you would pull from their catalog and say this is the definitive song? For me, at least, this would be it, Born to Raise Hell. This is a song that you can really just, lose your mind to. And now there are two versions of it. Now this, as a bit of trivia, this was actually part of a soundtrack for a pretty interesting movie that came out in the early 90s, Airheads in 1994. It had Brendan Fraser and it had Adam Sandler in it as well. It's about a group that's trying to get radio play, so they take over a radio station, hold the folks there hostage with toy guns and all that. It's pretty hilarious. But Lemmy, in fact, does make a cameo in that movie as well. And so there are two versions. There's the album version, which you can listen to, which has only got Lemmy's vocals. And there's the other version, which I do kind of prefer, which actually has the rapper Ice-T. And it also has the Ugly Kid Joe lead singer, that's Whitefield Crane, on it as well. And I think the three of them do a great job of, really creating an interesting dynamic in terms of how their vocals, sort of mix together, their delivery, their way of, pushing the envelope, you could say, sort of. But overall, I think it's just really, really cool. I think Phil, Mickey D and Wurzel, I think, was the other guitarist. I think this was the one rare time when they actually had two guitar players in the band. So hopefully I'm not butchering Wurzel's name. Sorry if I am. Not intentional. So I think that they just pull out like a high energy, monster performance, and this is a track that really defines it for me. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 10 tracks which I think really stand out, at least to me. That would be my top 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do share your top 10 tracks. Share which are your favorite Motorhead albums, your favorite moments, if any of you have attended their concerts in years gone by. Love to hear from you. Thanks so much to the guys who keep supporting me and the guys who keep writing in to ask me to do different videos. It's a lot of fun. Stay blessed, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Take care and rock on.